Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane has expressed gratitude following the Western Cape High Court's decision to set aside her suspension. President Cyril Ramaphosa suspended Mkhwebane in June, and a parliamentary inquiry into her fitness to hold office is continuing. Now, the Constitutional Court will need to confirm the latest order before it is enforced. Mkhwebane maintains that her suspension was conducted in an unlawful and rushed manner. Now, let's get the latest on the story. We're now joined in studio by our reporter, Canny Maphanga. Canny, thank you so much for your time, this afternoon. Now, of course, the Public Protector telling the SABC just yesterday that she would be returning, to office, following the High Court victory. But of course, the question is, can she, particularly because there is an appeal on the table?
Well, thank you, Nati. This is not as simple as stated last night. Of course, there are further developments this morning. Now, following that High Court ruling, as you've stated, it still needs a nod from the Constitutional Court. Despite that, there is, she did mention that there was a letter from lawyers of the Democratic Alliance, the official opposition, meaning that this ruling does not come into effect just yet. There is still a legal process that still needs to be followed, because remember, once the president has made a decision, if a court goes against that decision, it needs to be confirmed by the highest court in the land for it to become valid. So at this stage, we did visit the offices in Hatfield today earlier. We crossed live with the agenda to give them that update. There is no activity at those offices as we speak right now. What we do know is that the acting public protector, Advocate Galega, is the one that is heading that Chapter 9 institution as we speak. As of now, she hasn't been able to return, and those legal processes need to play out in order for the Constitutional Court to determine whether she'll be able to return to office or not.
Now, the legal experts that we have spoken to obviously saying that this court ruling does give her some form of a glimmer of hope. But take a step back, talk to us about the climate in which the Public Protector was suspended.
Well, the Public Protector, Advocate Mkhwebane, that we're speaking of, has always been a subject of critique over a period of time. Now, you may remember that just before her suspension, the Phala saga became dominant in the news cycle. And people were asking questions. People wanted to know what were the details of that alleged foreign currency, the alleged concealing of the crime, and the details around the robbery at that farm in 2022, and what wasn't declared and what wasn't revealed at the time. Now, we knew that because the Chapter 9 institution is enjoined by law to investigate the ethical questions surrounding this, we knew that there was a possibility that the Public Protector's Office would investigate this matter following a complaint. Now, we understand that in June, questions were sent to the President, and from June 7, he had about 14 days to respond to that. June 8th, Advocate Mkhwebane then announced that, as enjoined by law, she is now going to investigate this matter. June 9th is when she was suspended. So, looking at that, I don't want to draw conclusions, but people looking from the outside in did have suspicion around that decision, because at that time you can draw the inference that the president was conflicted at the time that he made that decision.
In fact, the court also pointing out, just that whole time frame that you are currently mentioning. Has the presidency responded?
Well, the presidency has noted the judgment. They have not spoken of an appeal or anything of that nature. They have stated that they'll be guided by that Section 172 Constitutional Court process, which requires the highest court in the land to confirm this order in order for it to become valid. So that is where we are at this stage. We're not hearing much from Busisiwe Mkhwebane's lawyers. They're stating that as of today, she would not be able to return to the office, but we will see this process unfold until it reaches the highest court in the land.
All right, Canny, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you so much for that update. Canny Maphanga just giving us the very latest there on that matter as it relates to the Public Protector.